News that's coming in from the United States of America. One person has lost life as Tesla's Cybertruck exploded in Las Vegas. On camera, Tesla Cybertruck went up in flames. Elon Musk has come out with a statement and he said fireworks or maybe a bomb carried in the truck. Tesla Cybertruck exploded right outside a Las Vegas hotel. Images that you are seeing on your screens coming in from Las Vegas in the United States of America. A Tesla Cybertruck has exploded right outside a hotel. It is Elon Musk who's now come out with a statement and he said that it could be fireworks or even a bomb that was placed inside the truck.
"2024 Tesla Cybertruck pulled into the area valet of the Trump International Hotel. Very quickly thereafter that, the driver, who was the sole occupant of the truck, we saw what looked like maybe some sort of smoke, and then the truck exploded. So the individual that was in that truck is obviously deceased, still in the truck as we speak here today. There is no further threat to the community as I sit here today. And I just want to make sure that our community understands we believe this to be an isolated incident, and it is now over as far as the danger.
Joining me on the story from the United States of America, Lenka White now. Lenka, we have seen how, Tesla cars are supposed to be the safest, and we have also seen a statement coming out with regards to the explosion that we have seen in the Cybertruck. Now, Elon Musk very clearly pointing towards the fact that there could be bomb inside the Cybertruck, and also said that there is a possibility that there could be fireworks because of which the truck caught on fire.
Yes, so according to the latest videos, the Cybertruck was actually loaded with explosives and canisters. They were revealing the videos and pictures later this evening here in the United States. It was really full of sort of these-sized canisters. And if you saw the video of the explosion was huge. It was massive. Fortunately, 7 people were only injured lightly. There were no deaths in terms of victims, but of course the driver in the seat, he apparently died. They are sort of not wanting to reveal his name as of now, but it seems it will again be an American citizen, according to the news which circulate here in the United States. Also, what was interesting that the sheriff of Las Vegas, he pointed out that Cybertruck is a very resilient car because despite the huge explosion, the Cybertruck itself actually managed to keeps it safe, keeps the shape and everything intact. You could just refurbish it and probably use it again. But again, it's very tragic. It's only 5-hour or 6-hour difference in between the explosion or in between the terrorist attack which happened in New Orleans. So I just heard an interview with the incoming border czar, Tom Homan, which has been appointed by Donald Trump for the border issues. And he said he believes these two events will be linked together with the end goal of ISIS. So we have to remain seated and wait, but it's very tragic, 2 events in one day.
Right. Lenka, please stay on with me. We've got the statement of Joe Biden coming in on this particular blast that took place right outside a hotel in Los Angeles.
We're tracking the explosion of a Cybertruck outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Law enforcement and the intelligence community are investigating this as well, including whether there's any possible connection with the attack in New Orleans. Thus far, there's nothing to report on that score at this time. I directed my team to make sure every resource is made available to federal, state, and local law enforcement to complete the investigation in New Orleans quickly and to make sure there's no remaining threat to the American people.
News coming in from the United States. The killer driver who rammed his car in New Orleans, which led to the death of 15 people and injuring 30 people, has been identified as an Army veteran from Texas. The 42-year-old Shamsud-Din Jabbar was the attacker. The image that you see on your screens are of the attacker. The army veteran had served in Afghanistan. There were ISIS flags, weapons that were recovered from his SUV. Now, this was the killer SUV. The army veteran rammed the car into a very crowded streets in New Orleans as people were celebrating New Year's. Now, after he rammed into the crowd, then he stepped out of the vehicle and started firing. As a result, close to 15 people have lost their lives at the moment. Almost 30 people are still injured and have been hospitalized. The killer driver has now been identified as an army veteran from Texas who served in Afghanistan. There were ISIS flags, weapons that have been recovered from his SUV. Multiple IEDs were also found in his SUV. This is the latest that is coming in with regards to the person who rammed his car. Lenka White is still with me from the United States of America. Lenka, you know what is very troubling is the fact that this man was an army veteran and had served in Afghanistan.
Definitely. It's been in the American news here all over again that he actually was an American citizen who also served in the army. And after that, at some point, he converted to ISIS. So that's one of the biggest questions, what the FBI is now trying to find out. What happened with this man? Why did this happen? Is this his real name? And who sort of made him to do that, or who convinced him? So they are now going through all of his social media, everybody who knows him, and could give them some new information on this person. Also, the name is of Arabic origin, so that's one of the links they're looking at. It's very troubling, and President Joe Biden pointed out he's an American citizen. It's not because we have an open border, but of course it's not that easy, and this still remains to be seen. Interesting part is also that the cars, both in Los Angeles and the one in New Orleans, they were both rented through the same application, so-called Turo. So that's not very common application. It's like Airbnb for accommodation, but still not that many people use it here in the United States. So that's an interesting fact. But definitely the New Orleans event is very tragic. We should also remember that there was supposed to be a huge football game this evening in New Orleans, which was actually postponed to tomorrow. And New Orleans is also supposed to host the biggest event of the American states, so-called Super Bowl, which is on February 9th. So all eyes are now on New Orleans and how they are going to cope with that. Last thing I would like to point out is that President Donald Trump is going to be sworn in 19 days. And there are many questions with regard to that, because this is going to need a really good security system. And we just saw that Elon Musk's car blew up in front of the Trump's hotel. So someone seems to be quite upset with the current president, and it's very scary what is happening.
Right, you know, you pointed out important details of Donald Trump all set to sworn in 19 days. And you also said that, you know, maybe someone is trying to send out a message blowing up Elon Musk's Tesla Cybertruck. Please stay with me. Lenka White joining me from the United States of America. Now, there was a very tragic attack on New Year's Day on one of the streets in New Orleans in the United States of America. The police at the moment is probing the suspected link between the killer driver, who is an army veteran, and the ISIS. The driver was shot dead by the police once he rammed his car into the crowd and then opened fire on the streets of New Orleans. Investigators later found out an ISIS flag, weapons, and even possible explosive devices inside the vehicle. Now, this has led to a lot of concern about coordinated terror attacks. The police are trying to piece together the killer driver's motives and the connection he has with the ISIS terror network. So far, 15 people have been killed and over 30 people have been injured in the terror attack that took place on New Year's Day. 2 police officers were also injured in this attack.
The killer was an American citizen, born in Texas. He served in the United States Army on active duty for many years. He also served in the Army Reserve until a few years ago. The FBI also reported to me that mere hours before the attack, he posted videos on social media indicating that it is inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill, The ISIS flag was found in his vehicle, which he rented to conduct this attack. Possible explosives were found in the vehicle as well. I directed my team to make sure every resource is made available to federal, state, and local law enforcement to complete the investigation in New Orleans quickly and to make sure there is no remaining threat to the American people.
We recognize we got a problem right here, right? We're going to fix it. It is going to be a top priority as we go into the Super Bowl in Mardi Gras, and the solution that we're going to come up with is going to be a permanent one. It's going to be placed into the standard operating procedure of having major events and securing that quarter.
So we have been aware of the Baller situation for a long time, and we did indeed harden those target areas where the Ballers are. We had patrol cars out there as a hard target, as well as with barriers. Now, I want to share with y'all, if you did not know, that this particular terrorist drove around onto the sidewalk and got around the hard target, where he did have a car there, we had barriers there, we had officers there, and they still got around. Now, the wedges that you see out there as well, we knew that that had malfunction problems. And I want you to understand, let's say we put the wedge up and it got stuck. There is no way that ambulance could get in or out, people couldn't get in and out, so we knew that these were malfunction. So we did indeed have a plan, but the terrorist defeated it.
Lanka White is still joining us, still with me on the broadcast. Lanka, just 19 days left for the oath-taking ceremony to take place. President-elect Donald Trump will be taking oath. In the past 24 hours, we have seen 2 attacks taking place, one in Los Angeles and one in New Orleans. Do you believe this will impact the entire security apparatus for the big oath-taking ceremony?
That's a great question. So far, what I have seen from the news, it definitely seems like it, because many of the officers who have been commenting on what's just happened are worried themselves, and they are saying, look, we have to make sure that the inauguration is going to be safe, because it's truly worrying that this is all happening. And let's not forget that there have been about 2 or 3 attacks on President-elect Donald Trump already, now we could say last year, towards the end of his campaign. So he definitely seems to be a big target. And now we are seeing 2 more terrorist attacks happening in one day. So I personally think that the security will have to get strengthened just based on what happened right now. He also will have around him Elon Musk, which is, of course, very controversial person. So we are waiting to see what will happen, and there are supposed to be many thousands of people attending the inauguration. So it will be also very difficult because the space is wide open. It's impossible to close it. So this will create an extra layer of difficulty sort of for the security to actually protect this huge area in front of the White House in the open field in Washington.
Right. Thank you, Lanka White, for joining me. Lanka White giving us those details coming in from the United States of America. At the moment, security questions are being raised about the big oath-taking ceremony, all set to take place on the 22nd of January. President-elect Donald Trump will be taking oath as the President of the United States of America. There have been multiple deaths that have been reported after a vehicle drove right into a very crowded street. People were celebrating New Year's. The accident took place in Bourbon Street in New Orleans, French Quarter. The street was alive with celebrations when the terror attack took place. 15 people are dead and over 30 people have been injured. Watch this detailed report coming in from the United States of America.
Gunshots, panic, and a horrifying scene. A New Year's Day celebration turned into carnage on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. A pickup truck driving at a high speed plowed into a crowd gathered to celebrate the New Year. The driver rammed straight into scores of revelers, unleashing violence that left the city shaken. Police returned fire. The suspect was shot dead, but not before the attacker got out of his truck and fired at people, ensuring maximum casualties. Nearly a dozen people were killed on the spot and 30 others sustained injuries, including 2 police officers.
What I'm asking at this time are prayers for those who have lost their lives in the city of New Orleans due to this tragedy. Stay clear from Bourbon Street, 8 blocks around. Very active, and again, a unified command is in place right now.
This horrifying attack could have been a lot worse, as officials confirmed that improvised explosive devices were also found in the area.
This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found, and we are working on confirming if this is a viable device or not.
The monster attacker clearly wanted to ensure that he could kill as many people as possible, first by ramming into the crowd and then firing at them.
Last night, we had over 300 officers out here. And because of the intentional mindset of this perpetrator who went around our barricades in order to conduct this, he was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did.
The French Quarter, where the carnage happened, is known for its LGBTQ events and drag cabarets, and had therefore drawn massive crowds for New Year, making it a target for this senseless act. The incident bears chilling similarities to a car ramming attack in Magdeburg, Germany, just days ago. That attack left 5 people dead and over 200 injured. As investigators work to uncover the motive behind the New Orleans attack, the city is left mourning. Families are grappling with sudden loss, and survivors are haunted by the events of the day. Bureau Report, India Today.